Hello friends, I hope you're all doing well. So for this video, I have a bit of a spicy one, which may be a bit more big brain than it sounds. That's 10 characters who benefit the most off composite materials. Now before we begin, we need to state the measures for this list. This isn't just like a straight up most like wanked list, like no shitty Goku, no shitty Saitama, no shitty Silver Surfer, or like Outerversal Thor, like base Thor. And this isn't particularly like a top 10, like straight up who is the strongest in the end due to composite forms. The goal here is to measure like how much each character has gained off of composite material in relation to like, you know, their weaker forms, giving them like the largest power jumps in the end. And, you know, this list is prone to being like changed or debunked by the authors. You know, let's say a good example being Mr. Mix when World's Funniest wasn't canon for a while, but then the issue came out when Mr. Mix said, you know, all versions are like one and the same. So yeah, it might change over time, but as of now, I'm just going to use, you know, non-canon comps that benefit them. But before we begin, of course, shout out the Coffee Shop Gang. Links will all be down below. You give them a watch. Great content, great guys. Give them a sub. But yeah, now let's begin with number 10. So at number 10, we have Composite Slender Man. Yeah, I know, what the fuck? The pedo tuxedo no-face fucko who got wanked to Outerversal with the Fear Mythos only at 10? Yeah, but keep in mind we're ranking them again by the power jump composite has given them outside of the Mythos. And, you know, in the other forms, you know, the more classical, well-known, the dimensional bleeding has been established in other wikis that aren't, you know, cheese like Fear Mythos. Or on other occasions, he's also been stated to be existing on a like kind of fourth dimension, but more so dimensional bleeding, being a like staple associated with this character is basically like, I don't know, the crossing and tearing through new universes, most likely making him like universal plus the low multiversal. It was like Fear Mythos Slender on his creations of the fears and kind of consumes later on of such fears, to which he gains like his outerversal status, which is, you know, a pretty high jump regardless. Even so, like he was like shrouded in uncertainty, even like his like classic iteration, since like some people thought he was like omnipresent. It's like we don't even fucking know. But if you're more kind of interested in my composite Slenderman video, since it is kind of whack, be sure to check out the Comp Slenderman vs. Beyonder vid. And be sure to leave a dislike if you're another butthurt Beyonder fanboy. But yeah. Anyways, on to number 9. So at number 9, we have my boy Q himself. Yes, indeed, I'm an honest and not delusional fanboy. I'm willing to call out the cheese my boy had gotten away with during like that big Marvel Star Trek crossover. Do not doubt he's obviously still like canonically broken, you know, being able to like harm the entire Star Trek Omniverse, like with simple emotions, or shrink it down to like human levels, which is very important for this list, since, you know, in his base form he's already very strong. Yet when able to like scale his standing, and you know, being the highest entity basically in Trek, in the verse, in comparison to like insanely buffed like Marvel verse with the cosmology, you basically have like the ability to place him in like deep boundless territory, you know, just like surpassing all the dimensions. It's rather complicated, like delving into it further. So if you want like a deeper explanation, go check out my Q's True Potential video. But in short, this just Marvel crossover gives him like the real testosterone rather than, you know, the original Trek bare minimum Captain Crunch High Hyper. Yet to be fair, he has been getting heavily buffed more and more so, mainly in comics. So another thing is we don't know how strong he is in Trek because he just has been getting buffs. So that's another factor on why he's kind of low. So on to number 8. So at number 8, I basically just like had to include just the composite, you know, couple of Alien and Predator fucking around at this point. So basically, this is when we jump into like, you know, the real meat and potatoes. Where characters have like numerous crossovers, yet I'll just be taking like several into account. Their most important being the inclusion within like Mortal Kombat X, a very sus game when due to scaling, with like its cheese non-canon outerversal scales, mainly revolving around the various elder gods, with tower endings lore being good provisions. It's cheese because it connects with Injustice 2's Raiden story ending, which like kind of comes in the clutch, where it's stated that Shinnok's battle with Raiden, Shinnok's Earthrealm corrupting Jinsei, was strong enough to break into the DC universe, a highly like plausible way, being that he broke through the source wall. We don't even know. And in return, all the barriers between the realms would be prone to shatter and existence erased. Yeah, we don't care about Kronika's like canon high hyperversal timeline feats. She's fodder here. So like obviously both Comp, like Alien and Predator, have reached immediate outversal status, being able to like beat the shit out of Shinnok, Raiden, everyone else, in the roster and MKX, because they obviously is canon. They're good to go with the other scales, with Injustice too, and because why the fuck not? They're also included in DC, where they kind of clown Batman and mainly the Predators. And the Queen Xenomorph at one point was holding kind of like Supes and Batman on her own fairly well before the plot armor kicked in, because Batman. At number 7, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger. The Terminator. Mainly speaking, the Terminator in 800 to be precise. So you may see a pattern with some of these characters being cheesy ass Mortal Kombat scaling. Blame Ed Boon's team. However, unlike Predator and Alien, his most impressive showing was his inclusion in MK11 rather than MKX. Yet from this non-canon comp standpoint, all the past game scaling still stands. Oh yeah, P.S. Fucking Ultra Instinct Shaggy is now canon in Mortal Kombat, shown in the earlier games, so we could possibly throw comparability to Ultra Instinct Shaggy to such characters, if not superior, since the cast in later games was generally seen as stronger, but this could just be Shaggy coming in to clap everybody's cheeks with ease, which I highly think is the case. That would be a huge nerf to Shaggy if he starts actually getting his ass kicked. So we just don't know where he scales, but it's a sure fucking buff to the verse regardless. The Terminators have also rumbled with Supergirl, Superboy, even though they got clowned later. We're able to generate kryptonite gas, KOing Superman for a time. One is able to blind Superman with a blast to the face, pretty casually. And same thing goes for the Transformers. They were honestly just giving some Transformers the hands with just some laser blasts. It's pretty funny. So yeah, they are indeed number 7. Next up at 6 is classic Mega Man. So Mega Man unsurprisingly gets carried hard by his several Marvel vs. Capcom experiences, but also his more recent addition to the world of Smash Brothers, most notably Smash Ultimate. So although it's canon, he's bare minimum planetary, probably star level, scaling off his past victories against Sunstar amongst others. Both fighting games take him to brain dead levels. To begin, let's say replace Sunstar with perhaps Shumagorath or Dormammu or Thanos, or he's the ability to beat them with complete ease. He can also clown Doctor Strange, although it wasn't his classic iteration. But we also need to address, many others who are thrown into the Smashverse, we need to address kind of the abilities of Master Hand, the creator, since much like the MK-verse, Shinnok, you can beat the shit out of Master Hand, and we can scale off of that. So, Master Hand basically embodies all the creation within the verse Smash Bros. He's responsible for the creation of all of Smash Bros., which is considered, as there is both a real world and a world of fiction. There are infinite timelines and universes that are infinitely created with every single action and inaction, with even fictional transcendence, and a real world, and real world existing as far back as Brawl and even Melee, so they tie back in N64. The real world is a higher plane. Not only do the spirits of the world of light to prove that to us, when they ascend upwards, being multiple times. It's a symbiotic portrayal of the spirits going to the real world above, Their like goal being to like explicitly stated as like the direct, complete, drive home further. Also, Final Destination has access to a wormhole that connects the real world to the world of imagination, and Golem is shown to ascend to the light world. And then here's just a thing of Master Hand at the very end. Dude's insane. And then then there's Crazy Hand, obviously. So yeah, you can solo both. It's insane. So yeah, that's Mega Man for you. Wild. So at number 5, following some very similar parallels of that of classic Mega Man in terms of cheese appearances, we have Rudyu from the Street Fighter series. Again, like Mega Man, Rudyu is like quite the consistent character in the various Marvel vs. Capcom series, and then some, including Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds, which includes a bonus opponent he can beat up involving the Phoenix Force, harnessed by Jean Grey, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite involving Zarathos, both games which Mega Man wasn't in. As being involved in the additional Marvel vs. Capcom games, the Mega Man was not. Ryu doesn't really match, in my opinion, like canon Mega Man also in levels of power, unless Ryu has like casual planetary plus feats like regularly that I'm unaware of. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Alongside this, he of course is also included in Smash Ultimate, giving him the same like dumb levels of scaling as Mega Man in that department. So it's absolutely stupid and insane. He can technically like solo Crazy Hand and Master Hand at the same time. So that is Comp Ryu for you at number 5. So next up is everyone's favorite Gator Boy, Godzilla, at number 4. But no, not the clowny Godzilla who gets boloed by Mechagodzilla, but Comp Godzilla, where the cheese really starts to stink. Shout out to the Arisen One for the allowance of his dope-ass research on it. I'll be sure to put his link down in the description below. Be sure to sub to him. Really dope stuff. So, to begin, his presence can like change timelines. He's the strongest on like 616 Earth and Marvel. He can merge with space-time. He overpowered the 4th dimensional Gigadora. Mecha Gigadora is stated to be the strongest monster in history, and Godzilla fights him. He doesn't give a fuck. Super Godzilla's power is in another dimension, and his power can expand infinitely beyond that. Using that, you could say he probably beat God. He then beats the Guardians in Hell. Why not transcend spiritual existence? God Mountains created everything and nothing. Godzilla Hell, lol. The artist talked over and questioned the writer, and they were like confirmed to have the lowest you can put him at Universal if like you're paranoid or you're just a Godzilla hater. And he's completely immortal. He presses Hercules. Hercules is like being in fodder, but who's able to lift the heavens. Like that's a sick ass scan. And Monster vs. Godzilla's bare minimum solar system, if you really want to downplay. But yeah, he has quite the repertoire under his belt. So that's Godzilla for you. Okay, so number 3, we have my boy Spock. So I put Spock at number 3. I was considering for number 2, to be honest. But he's got his like pinches. He's got some super strength. It's mindfuckery. And he later on he can like fold Wolverine. But mainly, we're all thinking about the life entity, where he was able to be the only one within like the DC / Strikeverse that was present, who was able to harness all the rings and just summon the life entity, just one shot, an incredibly strong version of Necron. This Necron killed Kyle Rayner, a White Lantern, but it could have possibly been the White Lantern imbued by like the Source, which was like the most broken. One of the most broken characters in DC, like Source, Kyle, but we are unsure about that. But regardless, if it was or wasn't, just, I don't know, Spock one-shotting a disgustingly strong Necron and then the entire army is just insane. I don't really have to point much more. So yeah. Oh yeah, and, Necron, of course, was said to be the omnipotent, embodiment of death, so why not? So yeah, that's a good old Spock for you. So, take a look at this face only a mother could love. Easily out of reversal. And I will just, like, we don't need, I don't know, Dead by Daylight, any other video games. Dead by Daylight doesn't do much justice. You can, like, one-kick pallets. So I'll end it off on just this one clip. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So just imagine the initial base form of Leatherface, this fucking man-child who can't think for himself, to that. I think that's worthy for a number 2 jump for comp. And now, finally, let's get to the number 1 juicy boy. At number 1, we have Chess. Chess being... No, I'm just kidding. Chess would destroy everything. Okay, no. But for number 1 that I've researched, I'm putting Composite Zolgo himself. Yeah, no, this isn't like Canon Zolgo who can just say, "Oh wow, look at me hold a black hole. Please be impressed." No. This is comp, of course. Just like Slender Man, in doing so, like within the Fear mythos, you know, that's damn well his friend. Just like Composite Slender Man, I recommend you check out the Gauntlet Zolgo video, where I explain his scaling to a much deeper extent. But in short, within the Fear mythos verse, holding the rules to allow any character to be included within any story as long as you make it like involve one of the fears. Do you know what that means? Any character in a verse you can think of technically is able to be included within the verse regardless of their power, and they'll be irrelevant to Zolgo. Be it like SCP-3812, the one above all, Feathery and Augustus Aurora, and so on and so forth. They'll always be the below likes of him. And I don't know, because Zolgo's purpose, like made within the Fear mythos, was to destroy each of the infinite verses one by one. So you can put him in the story, any character you want, but in the end they'll inevitably fall, and it's stupid. It's a stupidly made system. So yeah, I don't understand. But yeah, that is who I have for number 1. Keep in mind that I obviously haven't read everything I've ever made, so there are a bunch that obviously haven't been covered, like characters who benefit off comp. I'd definitely be down to make a second one, since there are some other people that I didn't get to. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I'd be down to make a second one. And yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.